Welcome to Glow Talk, a podcast by the Collagen Co, where beauty meets nutrition through honest, expert-led conversations that support women through every phase of life. My name is Millie. I'm the resident dietitian and nutritionist here at the Collagen Co. And today I am joined by another Millie. You'll have to get used to two Millies on the couch today, but I think they'll be able to differentiate between our voices. Millie, welcome. Welcome to the
Thank you.
podcast. Today we're talking all things hydration and electrolytes. Millie is part of our product development team. She is a wealth of knowledge. I'm so excited to learn from you today, and I know our listeners will be too. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what drew you into product developing?
Sure. Thank you, Millie, for having me. So I studied pharmaceutical sciences. I'm from the UK, if you couldn't tell by my accent. So I studied pharmaceutical sciences at university, and I always had a passion for developing, specifically within the science field. So that led to my option to choose pharmaceutical sciences, and then I went on to work into the pharmaceutical industry, particularly within the research department. So I've always had a nature for research, and that kind of grew to me going into formulation. So I worked there for 3 years, and I particularly focused on pharmaceuticals, but I always had a passion for beauty. That's just in my general day-to-day life. So that's why I stepped into the Collagen Co to take on that beauty
Yeah.
side.
Well, it
Yeah.
makes you the perfect person for the role, and you are the brains behind a lot of the incredible products that you bring to life here at the Collagen Co. So, yeah, incredible story, and no one better to be on our team than you. So I'm excited, yeah, for our listeners to gain all of your insights into what goes into making our incredible products. But we start every podcast the same, and again, there's no better person to answer this question than you. I would love to know if any product in our range, any product from the Collagen Co could represent your personality. What would it be? Pressure's on because you know the products better than anybody.
Yeah. I would say Super Beauty Greens, mainly because like in product development, you're always looking for multiple ingredients. You're trying to see what works best together. And I think that formula in itself kind of encompasses a range of different well thought out ingredients to provide that overall gut health. So yeah, that kind of matches my vibe in product
Yeah.
development, mixing all things together and see how it comes out.
Yeah, I feel like you've nailed that. You're so right. There's so many elements to the Super Beauty Greens, isn't there? It's like
Yeah.
a complex or a concoction, for the lack of a better term, of all of these incredible gut supporting, beauty supporting, health and well-being based ingredients. So love that answer. Let's get into talking about hydration and electrolytes. I feel like there's just a whole world out there online now, and it's such a topical concept, if you will, at the moment. Every time I look on social media, there's somebody talking about electrolytes. But before we get into that, I want to bring it right back to basics. Can you tell us what does it mean to be hydrated? It sounds very simple, but I think it's something that's commonly overlooked.
Yeah.
Hydration 101, what does it mean?
Yeah. Hydration means it's not necessarily in relation to how much water you've drank, or how many glasses of water you've had a day. It's more in relation to the fluid balance within your body. So the body is 60% water, so you're the fluid is constantly moving around the body, in and out of cells, through the bloodstream to ensure your bodily systems are working effectively. So hydration means ensuring you've got the correct amount of fluid within your body to ensure that those systems can happen efficiently and correctly, as opposed to, like I say, how many glasses of water you've had a day.
Yeah, so I've seen this trend online that says, and they're particularly coming from electrolyte companies or companies that produce electrolyte based beverages. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing these types of phrases online, but something I'm seeing popping up is that water does not hydrate you. Is that incorrect?
Yeah, absolutely. So water does hydrate you, but like I say, it's more where these supplement brands are probably the route they're going down is optimizing that hydration. So they can
Yes.
optimize your hydration, but water's a necessity. We need it every day. So to say water doesn't hydrate you is not correct.
it goes against everything we've ever been taught in our lives, isn't it?
Yeah,
We learn from
exactly.
literally the day we're born to
Yeah.
drink water, and now all of a sudden we're being told water dehydrates us. Like it's I'm thank you for clearing
No, that's
that
okay.
up. From a fluid perspective, how much fluid do we generally need every single day?
We would need 35 to 45 mil per kg of your body weight. So to put that into perspective, say someone was to weigh around 70 kilograms, that would be 2 to 3 liters of water a day. Yeah, that's the recommended guideline.
And can our fluid intake come from fluids other than water? Is there other things that contribute to our total fluid intake? Because I know a lot of people do struggle with water alone. Are there other fluids that do
Yeah.
allow us to meet those
Yeah,
requirements?
definitely. Almost anything. So from your juice to your tea, coffee, supplement drinks. Me myself, I personally don't always enjoy the taste of water, so I'll always add a fruity additive to there to make sure I'm enjoying the taste and I'm ensuring I'm making my fluid intake. So for sure, it's not just water that would
Okay.
count to that intake.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same as you. I do struggle. It's not that I dislike the taste of water. I just I need something to make it a little bit interesting.
exciting.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're anything like me, but when I'm at my desk working, I've got like 20 different
different
I've got like a
concoctions.
tea, a coffee, a chai, peptides, a water. It's just any way that I can get additional fluid in, it has to be interesting. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about our supplements here is that they do, yes, they've got an array of benefits, but they also just increase the palatability of water to make drinking and meeting our hydration needs more interesting. Now, on the topic of coffee, we see online, and again, I always refer to online because that's where we get a lot of our information from these days. But does coffee dehydrate us? I mean, you said that it can contribute towards our fluid intake, but is that a myth that it dehydrates
Yeah, so
us?
it doesn't necessarily dehydrate us. It can be an individual basis depending on the consumer. Those who are more prone to having a coffee a day or more caffeine intake, that caffeine will or that coffee will contribute to your overall hydration. Those who are maybe more sensitive to caffeine or have just started taking caffeine, maybe not so much, but your body adapts quickly. And as an overall general consensus, it doesn't dehydrate you. It, in fact, contributes to your hydration.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't increase our urine output in any way. I mean, people talk about it being a diuretic. Is that correct?
So as I say, it's individual circumstances. With if someone who has never taken caffeine before and drinks a coffee tomorrow, they may experience that slight diuretic effect where they're passing more urine. But as your body adapts to that scenario, it quickly, like I say, adapts. And you that hydration is part of your that coffee is part of your fluid intake.
Yeah, good to know for all of those coffee drinkers. And I'm sure with our beautiful energy drink, which does contain, a more natural source of caffeine, that has probably popped up as a concern for some of our customers. So it's good to know that it is not in fact dehydrating you, it is contributing towards your fluid intake, and you're of course getting those added benefits as well.
And with Beautiful Energy, so there's 110 milligrams of caffeine in there, so that is relevant to like a small cup of coffee. So even more so, it's contributing to your hydration intake. And like we said previously, we would have around 400 mils with Beautiful Energy. So for sure, that's definitely
you're getting that nice hit of
water
with it, aren't you? That's the thing with the coffee. It's not that it's, like you say, to your point, it's not dehydrating, but you might have it with a quarter of a cup of milk, where with the Beautiful Energy you are adding almost half a litre of water. So it's such a easy and really tasty way to meet your requirements. For somebody that isn't sure whether or not they are drinking enough fluid, what are some of the signs and symptoms that we notice within ourselves that could indicate we're dehydrated?
Yes, so you may be fatigued, have slight headaches. Your urine may be a dark colour. Thirst could be another one. And in long term, over time, it could be like extreme dizziness. Also, your performance, whether that be in exercise or even just day-to-day life, is slightly lowered down because of your fatigue. So they're kind of the general signs and symptoms.
I love your point around hydration, or dehydration rather, affecting your energy levels, because I personally find that when I'm fatigued throughout the day, I'm often thinking about what food I need to include, but hydration is so often overlooked. And when I think back to what I've drunk throughout the day, it's often minimal. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I think the fatigue is probably coming from the lack of fluid rather
Yeah.
than the lack of food.
Yeah.
Energy aside, though, what other areas of our health and well-being does being hydrated impact? So energy levels, of course. What's happening from a beauty perspective?
So for your skin health, for sure. So you may notice when you've getting the correct fluid intake, your skin is glowing more. You have more plump skin, and that is due to the skin barrier and the epidermis layer reaching the correct amount of fluid.
Okay.
From a beauty from within point of view, so from digestion, the more fluid you're intaking, the quicker the fluid can pass the food through your gut and into your stools. So
Yeah, it's
you
excreting the waste, isn't it?
excreting the
Yeah.
waste. Yeah. So without that fluid intake, it can often cause like bloating or like gut discomfort,
Yeah.
pains, even leading to more extreme like constipation maybe.
Yes.
So
That's not fun for anybody.
that's not fun for anybody. So those factors definitely do contribute to your beauty from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point as well, performance and recovery, whether,
Recovery.
you don't have to be a professional athlete to reap the benefits from hydration. It's
Mhm.
just, maybe even sometimes I go for a walk with the pram and I'm exhausted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I need some water to
Yeah.
actually be feeling like a functioning human again
Yeah.
after this. And
Of course.
of course, our requirements do increase as well when it's warmer and all of those sorts of things. So moral of this story is we all need to be drinking
Yeah.
more fluid, and being hydrated has so many effects for our health and well-being. I do want to move on to electrolytes, the buzzword. It's what we're all talking about.
Yeah.
Could you please explain to us what electrolytes actually are?
Of course, so electrolytes, they're essential minerals that carry an electric charge when dissolved in water. And essentially their purpose is to regulate that fluid balance within the body. So I know we spoke about at the start what it means to be hydrated. Electrolytes help to optimize that hydration. So when in terms of hydration, the ones we will be talking about are mainly sodium, potassium, magnesium, and also calcium can be one too. Um, So sodium, in terms of its purpose in hydration, it almost acts as like a magnet to water within the body. So it ensures that the body is absorbing that fluid and providing enough fluid for the bloodstream and for the cells to carry out certain activities. For potassium, it's kind of the opposite. So your sodium is outside of your cells within the body, whereas your potassium is within your cells. So they almost act as a balancing act together. So one will pull water in, one will take water out. And so that both of those are necessary to ensure that process is efficient. And then with magnesium, it's more focused on your muscle and your muscle relaxation. It allows those muscles, once they've contracted, to relax, so you don't feel so stiff and so tight, and especially after a workout or even like you say, like going out for a long walk. So it allows your body to almost like replenish itself and reset.
Okay, you've explained that beautifully. I'm a dietitian and I was trying to think about how I would articulate that, and you've done a great job. So
Good.
essentially, water hydrates us. The addition of electrolytes increases the absorption of fluid into the cell to create an adequate fluid balance. Is that essentially?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
When I worked in the hospital and I was looking at patients' bloods, and sodium and potassium would come up as a indicator for me to analyze. When I first started working, before I started studying, I didn't actually realize that they were indications of fluid rather than the actual amount of salt in the blood. Everyone's like, I need to eat more salt. It's like, no, you're dehydrated. You need to increase your fluid. So thank you for clarifying that. With so obviously they've got their role in hydration from would you say it's like drawing water like into the
I guess
into the cell?
in context, it's like drawing water in and out of cells.
Yeah.
There's something like known as the sodium potassium pump, so you can think of it like that. And that's why those two of particular are of importance to ensure that fluid balance. If we have too much or too little, the blood can't deliver enough oxygen and nutrients to your cells, and specifically when you're undergoing just daily activities, like you need that for your cells to be able to be your best self, I guess.
Yes, they're quite integral.
Yeah. Without people realizing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And who might benefit from electrolytes? We see them a lot in the sports performance category, but who else could?
Yeah, so it could be your busy on the go work individual, also someone who travels, who are limited on options, and they may need that quick replenishment. Also, in regards to women, someone who's pregnant, or also postpartum if they're breastfeeding, and also in that later stage of life of those going through menopause. And on top of that, it may be someone who lives in a warmer climate too. So you're obviously sweating more if you're in hotter, more humid conditions. So there's more fluid loss to those who are maybe living in a colder climate.
Yes. And can you still benefit from electrolytes even if you're not losing excessive fluid through either sweating, or I always think gastro-related symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, they're often when we think to include electrolytes, but like to your point, the everyday person that maybe isn't drinking enough water or prioritizing their fluid requirements, it's also advantageous.
Yeah, for sure. It's
for them.
For an everyday.
Yes.
Like you say, like often people think it's directed towards a sports person, but they are actually functional for everyday use.
Yes, yeah. And they also make water just taste that little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Which is as we say before, I think a lot of the population are struggling to meet their requirements. So any way that we can make it more exciting, then that's a goal. Now, I see a lot of things online, particularly from, dietitians and nutritionists, and I understand their perspective. So, I know that there's two arguments to this particular, not argument, but to this particular, I don't know, what would you call it? Like sentiment around electrolytes. Now, we can obviously get a lot of our electrolytes through food. You've got, as you said, sodium, magnesium, potassium, and calcium that are present in a lot of foods we eat. How do they differ in a fluid-based form? Are they more readily absorbed? Is it more convenient? Like, why might somebody look to a fluid-based form of electrolytes rather than meeting it through their diet alone?
Yeah, so like both points that you just mentioned. So for sure, when it's in a liquid form, the body can absorb this more quicker than, to say, in food. So that's a more effective and efficient process in itself. It will absorb into your body, and then also faster gastric emptying almost to support your hydration.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of convenience, definitely there may not be a time where you can ensure you've got a perfectly correct balanced diet or meal. Yeah, who's got time for that? Especially, and as I go back to electrolytes could be targeted towards women postpartum.
Yeah.
You're running around after a little one, like you can't always ensure you've got the correct diet there. So time and convenience is definitely a necessity when you're taking electrolytes.
Absolutely. When I was actually away filming for the Collagen Co, and I had Lenny, he was 9 months old at that point, and I was breastfeeding, and I got really severe gastro to the point where I was losing so much fluid that my milk supply was actually drying up, and I ended up in the hospital on intravenous fluids and anti-nausea and all those sorts of things. And they said to me, the only thing that will replenish your fluid stores as efficiently as you need them to as a breastfeeding mum is electrolytes. And just the impact that they had. And I mean, like to the points we've covered throughout this conversation, you don't need to be losing fluid, but just like the what's the right word here? But like the efficiency of absorption is incredible. And it's amazing how much better I felt just from increasing those electrolytes after feeling pretty terrible.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about sodium? Because we know that typically, and from my perspective as a dietitian, we're always telling people to eat less sodium, eat less sodium. And in Australian diets specifically, majority of our sodium intake does come from the consumption of packaged foods that are high in, when we say sodium, we're of course referring to salt, also those foods that are high in saturated fats and sugars and things like that. When we add sodium into a beverage for consumers that are typically already consuming a lot of salt and sodium in their diet, how does it still have a place, and how can we be mindful of our sodium intake?
Yeah, for sure. I think sodium, as you say, may get a bad rap, but it's not necessarily the sodium itself, it's how we consume it and how we use it. So if we're consuming high processed foods, and that's where we're getting a lot of our sodium from, it's not necessarily beneficial to our body in the most strategic way to be absorbing that kind of mineral, because those products are often filled with fats and sugars, like you say. So to be more mindful would be to kind of avoid those products and to take sodium in its more natural form, or from things such as electrolytes, where you're using that for hydration or for those kind of purposes, rather than just building up your sodium intake from other food sources.
It's almost like an entire dietary approach, isn't it? It's focusing less on those processed foods, eating more whole foods, and being strategic with how you consume your sodium alongside other electrolytes to receive maximum benefit. So it's not necessarily having to get rid of it, it's just being mindful of how and when you consume it so that you get the best from a hydration and an overall health, well-being, performance and recovery perspective. So Millie, looking at the hydration market, what sort of things did you notice were missing from the category?
Yeah, so we know that the hydration market is huge. One pivotal thing that came up often was that most of these drinks are more sports performance focused. They have quite a masculine clinical tone, and they're lacking in the beauty side and the beauty from within. Also, on top of that, a lot of these products are quite high in sugars. They contain artificial sweeteners. So there was a real gap for a product to kind of promote within that area. And that's why, based on those findings, we're super excited to announce that the Collagen Co will be launching a new product, and that will be named Hydroglow.
Amazing.
So this is a daily electrolyte and collagen blend.
I'm so excited for this to hit the market. I feel like this is what we've been missing from the range. We've of course got our glow shakes, our peptides, our greens, and a whole lot of other products that are focused around collagen. And this, doesn't differ. We do include collagen in Hydroglow, but it's something different. It's something really exciting. And I really feel like it fills that gap that you were just speaking to. Tell us a little bit more. What is different about Hydroglow compared to some of those other products that you were just talking about?
Of course, so like you just mentioned, collagen. So that's a main factor. So not many, if any, electrolytes out there contain collagen. So as that is the premises of the brand, we've still formulated the product with collagen. So you'll have 5.5 grams of collagen in there.
It's quite significant.
It is quite significant. And so you're gaining around 5 grams of protein, and there's still 40 calories per serve. As well as that, what makes it different? So we have the essential electrolytes needed for hydration.
So let's go into those, because that's a key part.
So we'll have adequate amounts of sodium, potassium, magnesium and calcium. And what's specific to the forms of those that we're using is that we're using citrate forms. So that means that a salt can come in many different forms. For example, sodium may be sodium chloride, sodium citrate, sodium carbonate. There's different forms out there. What's specific to the citrates is that the way that they are absorbed and the way that they're tolerated by the body. So they're readily soluble within water. So hence why we include them in the formulation, because it will dissolve quickly within the water, but also within the body. The body will absorb those more efficiently, leading to higher what we call bioavailability.
Yeah, incredible.
On top of that, also they're more tolerable by the body. So the body won't suffer from any gut issues.
Is that common with electrolytes?
So for chlorides or other forms more specifically, they're more irritable within the gut and on the digestive tract. So that's just due to the harshness of them. So with the citrate form, this is less common. So these are classed as more premium.
Premium is very on brand.
Premium is on
For the
brand for the Collagen
isn't
Co,
it?
for sure.
Can you please talk us through some of the other ingredients like vitamin C and all of those other beauty supporting, health supporting ingredients that we wouldn't typically find in other electrolyte drinks?
Yeah, of course. So, as we mentioned, a lot of products out there are lacking on the beauty benefits. So we included collagen in there for that reason. But on top of that, vitamin C and hyaluronic acid. Vitamin C to promote the collagen formation, and hyaluronic acid to further support that beauty benefit.
Yeah.
On top of that, we have added electrolytes within there, but we also have natural sources.
Okay.
So we have something which is a sea mineral complex, and this is quite an amazing ingredient. It's full of 72 trace minerals.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's only at such a small input too. So with that, what's specific for this sea mineral complex that we're focused on is the magnesium and calcium. So it's rich within magnesium and calcium. And then also on top of that, we've got coconut water in there. And I know coconut water is trending and going crazy right
hype,
now.
isn't it?
Yeah, so that is rich in your potassium mainly, and also you gain some sodium from there too.
Okay. And the calcium part, I think that's an electrolyte that is often overlooked. Maybe from a hydration perspective, we do often focus on the sodium and the potassium.
Yeah.
But for our audience that are perimenopausal and menopausal, calcium is a really important nutrient for them to be consuming every single day to help with bone strength and muscle strength. And the fact that you do get the added benefit of, I think, 100 milligrams of calcium, which is, using rough numbers here, but about 10% of your daily requirements is huge as well. And to, naturally just be having that within your water is so significant. And I feel like we can't overlook how important that is for so many of our listeners. Now, we don't use artificial sweeteners in this product. How do we make it still taste incredibly delicious and, still sweet, but not sickening?
So we're really focused on, we will use natural sweeteners and natural flavorings. So one common thing that came up with electrolytes, even for me personally, is how salty they are. You want the customer to enjoy the experience. You almost don't want the customer to drink a beverage, drink an electrolyte mix because it's a quick fix for them and they know they need the hydration. It's more something that you want them to come back to. So that was a very important aspect of formulating this product, although we wanted to ensure you had all the required amounts of salts in there. We didn't want it to be a salty product. So the use of the natural sweeteners helps to mimic that taste, but without putting that sickening feel, like you're saying. And also it's low in sugar. It's only less than 1 gram of sugar per serve. So
insignificant.
Yeah. Whereas there are some products out there that are at least 35 grams of sugar per serve.
It's just such an unnecessary way to be consuming sugar, isn't it? Like we can get it in other foods. We don't need to be having it in our hydration products.
Yeah.
A lot of other electrolyte-based products on the market use, certain types of artificial or natural sweeteners that actually have that osmotic, almost laxative-like effect, which I feel like defeats the entire purpose of an electrolyte supplement. And that's something I know that we're so mindful of is, we don't use artificial sweeteners. We use those more natural varieties, but in small quantities so it doesn't have that effect on our gut and it doesn't disturb our digestive health to the point where we're running to the toilet and losing the benefits of hydration. So I think that's a really, important point to recognize as well. So apart from, we've spoken a little bit about our busy people, maybe those that are participating in more active or have more active lifestyles, who else can benefit from HydroGlow?
For sure. So HydroGlow is designed for functional everyday use. So almost anyone can benefit from taking this. As we mentioned before, you're busy on the go individual. A lot of our consumer demographic are women, so those who are going to the office and they need, especially because this will become in sachet form, they can just pop it in their bag within the morning and have it on the go when they may be mid-morning feeling
They don't even need
slightly
to
dehydrated.
get up and go to the kitchen. If you've got your water bottle there, just
Yeah, just top it
straight
up and you're ready to go. So women 25 to 55, and also within those later stages of those going through menopause to help
Yeah.
with things like your hot flushes and your night sweats where you are losing that fluid.
Yeah.
But it's also just convenient for an everyday person
Yeah.
who just wants either a flavored water or something to replenish their electrolytes when they feel slightly fatigued.
Yeah, and talking about those life stages as well, pregnancy, we know that morning sickness can result in vomiting and fluid loss and lack of appetite as well. So just having, Hydroglow there to replenish and again make water feel more exciting in a time when things don't taste all that
Yeah.
nice is really great. And breastfeeding as well. I'm currently breastfeeding and I'm constantly looking for ways to increase my hydration. So they will be coming everywhere with me. Like I am taking all of the boxes today. We haven't even spoken about the flavors. Can you walk us through those?
Yeah, of course. So we'll have 3 flavors. So we'll have strawberry watermelon, lemon lime, and berry frost. Berry frost is like your mixed berry flavor.
Yes, and we've got a strawberry watermelon flavor in our premium collagen peptides. So some of our customers may be familiar, but lemon and lime and berry frost are 2 totally new flavor profiles for us. So I feel like they're going to be sellouts.
They are, and also we don't really have a citrus flavor within the range right now. So
Yes, true. So Millie, tell us, how does Hydroglow compare to the other electrolyte drinks on the market? Like, are they comparable, or how many of those would we, need to consume to actually meet what we're finding in Hydroglow?
So your average everyday sports drink that you may pick up from the supermarket, you would probably need to consume 2 bottles to be able to consume the same amount. So a lot of those sports drinks are more sodium focused. They don't encompass all the 4 electrolytes like Hydroglow does. So although you may be getting the sodium amount, you're not getting the other amounts. And
Okay.
also saying that they're very high in sugar and sweetener, so which is what we
Yes,
wanted to avoid with Hydroglow.
definitely. I'm hanging out to try this flavor. I mean, I had a little sneaky sip before, but I feel like yum. Just amazing. And you're so right. It's not super salty.
Yeah,
Like it's got, a little bit of salt, which of course is one of the key benefits. So it has to be in there, but not sickly sweet, the right amount of citrus. You nailed it.
nailed it.
Now, a lot of our customers I know will have questions about how this product fits alongside the rest of our range. So, is this designed to replace any products, or can we consume it alongside all of our other incredible products?
For sure. It's not so we don't design to replace, it's to fit seamlessly within to your current routine.
To enhance.
To enhance, yeah.
Yeah.
As we say, the product still contains collagen, but it depends what benefit you're after. If you're really focused on the beauty, you may have a premium collagen peptides, which contains 15 grams of collagen within the morning, and then mid-afternoon you have a glass of Hydroglow to fix that hydration. So you're getting both the beauty and the hydration support.
Incredible. I'm so excited to bring Hydroglow to the market, and all of the work that yourself and the rest of the team have put in to bring this product to life. I just think it's something that the category's been missing, but we've also been missing from our lineup of incredible products. So I know that everyone is going to absolutely love this. So Millie, before I get some final thoughts from you, first of all, can I say how weird it is calling someone else your own name? We are playing a quick game of Glow and Tell. So I've got
Okay.
5 rapid fire questions for you.
Yeah.
I want quick, succinct answers.
Okay,
You ready to play?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. One quick tip to stay hydrated each day.
Start your day with hydration.
A common hydration myth you need to bust right now.
That water doesn't hydrate you.
One thing people get wrong about electrolytes.
They're purely just for athletes.
Most obvious sign that you're dehydrated.
Dark yellow urine.
And the number one thing that makes Hydroglow different.
The beauty aspects.
And it should be everyone's next purchase.
For sure.
Any final words from you, Millie, about hydration, about Hydroglow that you would love to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, I think the importance of our overall wellness with hydration, it's not just the fact of consuming water to hit that number, to hit that target. It's just the
Yeah.
whole within aspect of what hydration may have on the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go and get yourself some
And go get
Hydroglow.
yourself some Hydroglow.
Amazing. Well, thank you for all of your hard work in bringing these products to life for our listeners and our community. You do such an incredible job, and it has been such a pleasure to have you join me on the couch today. Two Millies talking about food, nutrition, supplements. It's what we were made for.
It's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.